Have you ever tried to sit down and meditate and immediately thought to yourself, like, am I doing this right? Like, is my mind supposed to be this loud? Or shouldn't I feel like calmer at this point? And just like that, what was supposed to be a moment of peace often turns into another way to judge yourself, to struggle, to fight with your own mind. But what if I told you it's actually the way you're going about approaching meditation that might actually be reinforcing the stress you're trying to escape? Like, what if meditation itself isn't the problem, but it's the way you've been taught to use it? Well, that's what we're talking about today on the LOL with Danielle podcast, your weekly mental vacation from the daily grind for busy women who just need a moment to pause, breathe, and woosah. It might need just a little bit of a moment of freedom when life feels impossible. I'm your host, Danielle Washington. And today we're talking about the hidden traps that no one's telling you about, like the ways we've unintentionally turned meditation into a struggle instead of a tool for ease. And I'm willing to bet and put some serious money behind this that if meditation has ever felt frustrating, like another thing you're probably feeling like you're failing at, this actually might be the situation. This might be why. Because meditation isn't about clearing your mind. Meditation is not about stopping the thoughts. And it's definitely not about getting it right. But we've been sold this story. We've been sold the dream that meditation is going to clear everything up. My life is going to be amazing. Hallelujah. Let the heavens start singing. Because this is the quick fix that we've been sold. I mean, we've all heard it before, like, just meditate for 10 minutes a day and you'll feel calmer, you'll feel centered, and you'll have so much peace in your life. Sounds great, right? I mean, I was sold on it and I tried it. I'm like, oh my God, my life is going to be great. I'm going to meditate. Everything's going to change. But what happens when you don't feel calm? When you sit down, you try to meditate, you get in these uncomfortable positions, and instead of feeling that peace, your mind is throwing a full-blown tantrum. It's checking off your to-do list, the things you didn't do. It's going into your negative mindset of saying all the things you're failing at and just adding meditation to the list. You're thinking about all these different things and replaying these awkward conversations from years ago, wondering what's for dinner. And now, instead of feeling relaxed, you're feeling like you're failing at meditation. There's something that's supposed to be so peaceful for you. And that right there is the trap. Meditation has been marked as this quick fix for stress, anxiety, something that's supposed to work instantly. But that's not how it actually functions. And that's the frustrating part for me as someone who does teach meditation and who's a real advocate of meditation, because meditation is not a magic button. It's a practice. Like anything else, it takes practice. And there are a lot of people out there that believe meditation is about always just controlling the mind. Meditation will help you control the mind and help you silence the thoughts, eliminating distractions, forcing the stillness. But here's the real truth. Meditation is also not about control. It's about awareness. The more you try to force your mind into silence, the more you try to resist it, the more resistance you're actually creating. The more resistance you create, the more your thoughts start to push back and like, you're in a struggle, you're in a battle. It's almost like you're in the shower and you're trying to put the water back in the faucet. That's not a good look. But that's exactly what's happening when you approach meditation as this battle against the mind. The moment you stop fighting the current, that's when you realize it was never about stopping the flow. It was always about learning how to sit with the water flowing through you, on you, and just watch it. That's the real thing. So how are we unintentionally using meditation against ourselves? So let's think about it. So if meditation isn't about control, why do so many of us struggle with it? My thought behind that is it's because we unknowingly are turning it into another way to judge ourselves, another way to measure ourselves, and stress ourselves out. Like this perfection trap, if you're that overachiever, meditation can easily become another thing to quote unquote get right. You expect yourself to sit down, feel this instant peace. And like when that doesn't happen, you think, dang, I must be bad at this. I must suck at meditation. I can't get this right. And a lot of people stop right there. Maybe meditation just isn't working for me. Maybe that's not my thing. But meditation isn't something to succeed at. It's something to experience. You don't fail at watching the sunset just because clouds all of a sudden come in. Like, that's not the situation. And just like that, you don't fail at meditation just because your mind is active. Instead of focusing on how quote unquote good your meditation is, try focusing on the fact that you just showed up. Period. I showed up. Whether your mind is racing or still, you've won because you showed up. And for my overthinkers out there, if you're someone whose brain has never stopped analyzing, strategizing, planning, hello, that was me. Meditation might feel like another puzzle to solve. Instead of being able to experience it, you're so busy wondering, am I doing this right? Should I feel something by now? Like, what's the goal here? And how will I know it's working? The irony behind that, the more you overthink meditation, the less you're actually meditating. So instead of trying to analyze the experience, I don't know, just food for thought, what if you just tried to allow it to unfold? Like, what if we just let meditation be something you practice instead of it something that you have to perfect? And then for those of you who are trying to escape some of problems, again, I've been there too. A lot of people turn to meditation for this, and I get it. They're hoping to avoid some kind of discomfort, some emotional feelings. They're trying to avoid stress, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed. But here's the situation. Meditation isn't about escaping your emotions. It's actually about learning how to be with them without reacting. Like the moment you start expecting meditation to remove all your difficult feelings, wash away everything, you're literally setting yourself up for the most frustrating life and experience. Because our emotions don't just disappear when we sit still. They actually become louder. So how do you sit with your emotions without getting overwhelmed? You start naming them. What I love to do when I tell this with my clients as well is instead of resisting them, just tell yourself, hey, I'm noticing that frustration is here. I'm noticing that overthinking is here. I'm noticing that impatience is here. And by doing this, you create a space for you and your emotions to kind of coexist together. You end up becoming the observer, and instead of becoming consumed by all the thoughts and the emotions. And if meditation isn't about controlling the mind and it's not about escaping emotions, then you're probably thinking, girl, what is it about? I think it's time for us to reframe what meditation is. Instead of trying to quiet our mind, what if we just listened to it without reacting? I think that's what I would look and how I would reframe meditation. Your thoughts aren't the enemy. They're just passing clouds in the sky of your awareness. Your job isn't to push them away, but just to watch, to just observe, to be aware. I think it's also about learning how to embrace the chaos instead of trying to have this meditation be this perfect place of peace. Because the reality is some days of meditation are going to feel blissful. They're going to feel amazing. You're going to come out and feel like I can do anything. And other days are going to feel like a mental chaos. Meditation is the both and. It's the mental chaos moments and it's the bliss. The goal isn't the peace. The goal is just being present, just being there, just showing up. Meditation in the stillness, like, I don't know about you, but I used to struggle with sitting in stillness. And so if that's you, if you're feeling like you struggle with stillness, you're not broken. Your mind just needs a different type of engagement. For me, sitting in silence felt impossible. I would keep trying it and think I was failing at meditation. And then I discovered different types of meditation. As a Kundalini yoga, practitioner, I use breath work, I use chanting, I use movement. Like right now, I'm at the tail end of a 1,000-day meditation. I'm maybe 60 days away from getting to my 1,000-day mark. And what I love about this is I'm chanting something, I'm moving my hands. And though it may not feel like I'm finding stillness, I'm actually finding the stillness in my mind in the movements, because I'm so focused in on the breathing, I'm focused in on the chanting, I'm focused in on the movement, that it helps quiet my mind in a way that, though it's not silent, it helps me get the clarity that I desire. It helps me get the aha moments. Thoughts do come in, don't get it twisted. I could be in the middle of doing that and I'm like, oh dang, I'm hungry. What am I gonna have for food? There's those days. And I honor those days and I honor the thoughts. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let that be a cloud in the sky and just won't keep on floating through. And then there's other days where I have these amazing messages and downloads and I'm like, I wish I can write all these things down. And I really have to be intentional about staying in with my practice because I want to stay in the practice. And then there's moments where I'm like, wow, has 20 minutes really gone by? Because I was so in a zone. So allow yourself to be open to meditation being something unknown each day. But the real question I ask you to think about today is, are you using meditation to free yourself? Or are you unknowingly using it to reinforce this very pattern that keeps you feeling stuck? Because meditation isn't here to fix you. You were never broken to begin with, so it's not here to fix you. It's not about winning or failing, doing it right or wrong. It's literally about creating a space where you no longer have to fight your own mind. But, it all depends on how you look at it. And I also say this to say, meditation is it's not a one size fits all. It's not a one size fits all type of thing. There's so many different types of meditation. So I invite you to try different types of meditation to see what works best for you. And in today's What's Blocking You segment, this is a segment where we talk about, something that you may not even been realizing that's blocking you. I have a client, a yoga therapy client that I work with. Her name is Alexis. Again, fictitious names. And Alexis was feeling stuck. Not in the way of I don't know what to do with my life, because she had that all down. But in the way I know what I need to do, but I just can't seem to do it. She had her goals. She was, a goal-driven person. She was my overachiever. She had ideals. She had plans. But every time she tried to sit down and take action, she felt drained even before she started. She thought, and that's what she kind of came to me for, part of the problem is I feel stuck. I feel like I'm always procrastinating. And that's what she thought was a problem. But the real block, her energy was just scattered. She was constantly in this response mode. She was always responding to emails, text messages, commenting on things on social media, to where the point was she had no time to focus on herself. Her mind was always processing something, always analyzing data in her head. So what we did was we worked to do some simple shifts, like reclaiming her energy before she even started her day. So we started off with a morning ritual, just having her sit for 3 minutes, doing nothing, This wasn't planning time. This wasn't meditating time. This was a time to just sit and do nothing, which at first was hard for her. So we added in a breathing pattern. So we had her breathing in we did having her do what I call taco tongue, where you fold your tongue, and also called Satili breathing. So we did that. That worked for her. And then we tried something else, another breathing exercise where she would breathe in 2 small sniffs and then 1 long one out, and then having her have her hands in a mudra. And that's the one that seemed to work best for her, because again, we tried a couple different things. And just having her do this, and then we added doing something similar. And at the end of the day, it helped her. It wasn't about forcing her to focus. It was about calling her energy back. So we also added in a mantra about calling back her energy in the morning, calling back her energy in the middle of the day, and calling back her energy at night. And within a few weeks, she started to notice the difference. She wasn't mentally feeling exhausted midday. She could sit down, start projects without feeling any resistance that she was feeling before. And more importantly, she felt she was in control of where her energy was going. So if you've ever been thinking like, oh, I'm just procrastinating, I'm having some issues, maybe your energy is just too scattered to move forward. And that is something you can always shift. And as we close out today's episode, the next time you go to sit down to meditate, I ask you to ask yourself, am I here to struggle? Or am I here just to simply be? Because the moment you stop fighting, you might just find out that there's the ease within you that you've been looking for all along. It's just there. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next week. Ciao. Thanks for joining us this week on the Hello Well with Danielle show. Make sure to visit our website, hellowellwithdanielle.com, where you can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music and never miss an episode. Also, you can follow us on social media at Hello Well with Danielle on Facebook and Instagram, and Hello Well Danny on Twitter. And if you like hella love the show and got some good nuggets out of it, know that I'm not too proud to ask for you to please leave a rating or review on iTunes so that we can continue to expand our reach and help other women of color. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you next week. Ciao.